And let's get our acceleration now with the RDX. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over a 2021 Acura RDX in the A-Spec package. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Jody Wilkinson Acura for giving me some time with this RDX. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the RDX, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 21 around town and then 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 272 horsepower and then 280 pound-feet of torque. Let's go over the front end of the RDX. First and foremost with the headlights. I love the look of the headlights. They definitely have this cool, like, modern, clean look in general. And then if you guys are wondering, those are just the high beams right next to it, but they're super, super bright at night. I know that because I get blinded by them all the time. So great visibility with those headlights. And then you guys can see you've got the gloss black trim here around the grille, and then you've got it around the venting here on the side. That looks really good as well. And then I actually love the plastic molding here on the front. It's close enough to the gloss black when you see it at a distance that it all just kind of matches together. I know some people might complain about that. However, obviously this lower portion is going to be the part that takes the biggest beating, and so the fact that it's plastic makes it really inexpensive to replace. So I definitely appreciate that in an SUV. It just makes the car more practical. The Acura logo does double as a sensor, which is another nice little touch. But yeah, overall, the front end of the RDX looks really good. It's just handsome, futuristic looking SUV. Coming around the side here, we've got two 55mm tires and 20-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well with the RDX. As for the design, notice that it's a dark metallic gray for the wheels, which I've kind of noticed is just like an Acura thing, which I think it looks really good with the dark metallic gray. Definitely a lot better than just doing gloss black wheels like what a lot of manufacturers will do with their sportier vehicles. Got the little A-Spec badge right there, and then notice you've got the gloss black trim here on the side again. It just kind of like breaks things up with the RDX in general. And then I like how they've done the body painted portion here on the top of the mirror. But other than that, here's your full side view with the RDX. So let's go into the rear of the RDX. You can see that we've got the cargo mats back here that say RDX on it, and there's actually some storage space underneath to add to the practicality, which is pretty cool. My favorite part though is you can throw it on the seat, so you just pull the lever and the seat falls down. It just feels like I'm doing something substantial because it's just like pull the lever and then it's like, well, bam. Obviously that makes putting things back here a lot easier from a practicality standpoint, but that's everything for the rear. Let's go over the rear end of the RDX. First and foremost, you guys can see the taillights here. Really sharp look with the LEDs. Definitely has its own unique, cool look. I think it's just a sporty design in general. And you've got all of your regular badging here on the back, nothing too crazy. I love the shape of the exhaust tips. It kind of reminds me of the SRT Grand Cherokee in terms of like having just like massive round exhaust tips. I think it's just a really good look in general. And there are parking sensors along the back end as well. But other than that, that is everything for the rear of the RDX. Over the door panel here in the rear of the RDX, you can see you've got soft touch all along the door panel with this really nice white stitching. It just feels and looks high quality. I love the look of the speaker here in the rear as well. And then the door handle actually has a really cool feel to it, how it's just like, hopefully you guys can see this on camera, but there's like this little divot here at the end that you like, it hugs your finger. It just definitely feels different compared to any other door handle. I know it's random, but it's cool. And then coming here to the seats here in the rear, again, you've got nice soft touch throughout. You've got really nice perforations. You've got the suede here that's perforated in the center as well. Not only do these seats feel really nice, but they look really nice on top of that. But let's actually pop in. So stepping in, since it's an SUV, I don't have to duck too much. If you guys are wondering, I'm 5'11". I've got a good amount of headroom, and then my legroom is solid as well. And then you guys can see there's a little storage compartment right there. Couple of vents here in the rear, couple areas to charge devices as well. And then this pulls down to be some cup holders here, also doubles as an armrest. But overall, the back passengers, they get to live the life of luxury. Go over the front door panel here on the RDX. So again, you can see you've got all the soft touch here on the door panel, and again, really cool look with the speaker there. You've got your memory seat controls just up above. Got all of your controls for the windows, your mirror adjustments, all that. This is actually what opens up the rear hatch. And then here are the seats at the front. So just as beautiful as the seats at the back. So you've got all the soft touch with the perforated leather, and then you've got the perforated suede there on the center. Definitely its own cool, unique look here. And you guys can see the bolsters are very soft to the touch. You've got your adjustments there on the side side of the seat, and then you can see the pedal layout just down below, and then you do have the little RDX floor mat right there with the A-Spec plaque right next to it. Parking brake is just up above. You've got your brake hold. This is your collision assistance to turn it on or off, your lane departure, your parking sensors, and then your stability control as well. The steering wheel is manually adjustable, and there's one more look before we pop in. So before we go over the steering wheel, I love the animation it gives you when you shut off the car. I think that's pretty cool. I know it's gimmicky, but I love gimmicky stuff like that. Anyways, with the steering wheel, you've got soft touch at the top and at the bottom, and you've got this nice perforated leather here on the sides of the steering wheel, so it gives you really good grip with the steering wheel so your hands don't slide all over the place. And then you can see over here, you've got your controls for the cruise control. It is adaptive, and then you also have the lane keep assist as well. Really nice paddles here just behind, and then you guys can see you've got all of your volume controls, voice command controls, all that kind of stuff, nothing too crazy. And then yes, you got the little A-Spec here at the bottom of the steering wheel so that you remind yourself that you got the bad boy trim. And then you can see over here we've got the little stock for the windshield wipers and then the turn signal light stock on the other side. And that is everything for the steering wheel of the RDX. So here is the center gauge cluster with the RDX. You can see that you've got analog gauges on either side. I love how they're like red and sporty looking. I definitely think it's just a really cool look in general. There is that center screen that you can scroll through to give you different information on the vehicle itself. Nothing too crazy. Most modern vehicles have something like this center screen, so like it's not a departure from the norm. Now the cool part is the drive mode select, so it makes a cool sound when you go through the different drive modes. So you can see that there is a snow mode, and then the next mode is a comfort mode, and then the next one is sport, and then you got the sport plus. It pops there at the very bottom, so if you guys are not looking in the right place, it's just right there at the bottom that it pops between the different drive modes. It does give a cool animation on the center screen, but we'll get into that in just a moment. Here's the center infotainment system. First off, we'll pop it into reverse so you guys can see the backup camera. So you do have trajectory lines that will turn with the steering wheel with this backup camera system. And then there's a couple different viewpoints that you can scroll that you can basically look through with the camera system. My favorite out of the three of these is the little zoom in function there with the back. So obviously you'd make hooking up to a little trailer if you did decide to tow with this a lot easier just to do that because it's zoomed right in on that little area. But as for the rest of the infotainment system, response time with this little keypad's really good. It's really easy to use in general. You do get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. There are shortcut buttons as well. So like if you click onto one of the screens, for example, and you want to go back to the home screen, you can just press the home screen button. It's really easy to use in general. I love the look of the infotainment system, and although it does take a little bit getting used to with the keypad, it's really intuitive in general. Now just down below the infotainment system, we've got a whole bunch of controls in this little area right here. So we've got analog controls for the climate system. It is a dual zone climate. You do get heated and ventilated seats here for the front. This is to turn off the auto stop start if you don't like that function for some reason. This is the drive mode select, and speaking of that, this is the cool animations you see. So you've got the snow mode there, and then you've got the comfort, and then you have the sport, and then you have the Sport Plus, which obviously it turns the RDX into a complete rocket ship. It's just cool that they give you those custom animations there. My favorite though, honestly, is the snow mode. I think that just looks really cool, like it's just like a cool kind of like scenic view. But I love how they've spent a lot of time into doing animations for the drive modes themselves. And then just down below the drive mode select, you've got the gear selector. So you've got your park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Pretty easy to use. You push in for park, you push in for reverse, in for neutral, and then in for drive. If you want to manually shift the gears yourself, you push in again. That'll put you in the manual mode. And then if you want to go out of the manual mode, just push it again and it'll put you back into drive. Really easy to use. And then here is that keypad system to control the infotainment system. So you rest your wrist right on that little thing, and you basically just scroll through. And when you have your wrist on that, it's actually really easy to use. It makes it easier to use the keypad instead of like coming at it from an angle or something like that. Just something I've noticed. But yeah, you've got all those shortcut buttons as well, but that's the whole like center stack area. We have the whole center console right here. You have the magical disappearing centerpiece, which if you guys are wondering, ooh, I wonder where it goes. It's not like it goes down or anything like that. It's just like magically disappears. Anyways, got some cup holders here. You've got a little USB there with some extra storage. And then you do have the center console, which has a decent amount of storage. And then you got soft touch on top of it. I think it's a cool looking system. It's almost like a, this is kind of weird to say, but it's like the center console has a tongue, and that's the tongue that pops out. I don't know, maybe I just have like too vivid of an imagination. I love the stitching all across this little area that all goes across the dash. And then they put a bunch of suede here, which I think is a really nice design piece as well. And then with the glove box, there's just that button you press and that'll open up the glove box. It's got a couple tiers on it. Pretty standard setup for an SUV. But overall, I love the setup of this interior. I love how everything kind of flows together. Look at the trim piece there with the door and how that flows into the rest of the dash. Just really beautiful from a design standpoint. Up top here, we do have a sunglass holder, and then this does come with a full panoramic sunroof. If you're wondering, the controls for the sunroof are just in that little area with the RDX, and then they give you a full black headliner. Now that we're done going over the interior on the RDX, let's quickly talk about the pricing. So in terms of pricing, this RDX stickers for about $47,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take the RDX out and see how it drives. Quickly talk about visibility before we set off here on the RDX. So you guys can see visibility of the hood is really good. And then you get your visibility through both of the mirrors. And then you have your visibility all throughout the rest of the rear, which is really good, especially since this kind of has that like crazy, like sporty look in the back end and it slopes down a little bit. Still has good visibility back there, which is impressive. And that all being said, well, let's set off. So we are initially setting off here in the RDX, and first and foremost, let's talk about the road noise and the ride quality. So from a ride quality perspective, I put it at average for the segment for this type of SUV, but the thing that I am noticing is with the road noise, it actually does a really good job at insulating things. I don't hear a whole lot of noise from the tires, and this road over here in Salt Lake is super beat up, and this thing is just, it's not upsetting the SUV whatsoever. So this platform is just really solid in general with that. And the brakes on this are really good as well. And then taking a turn here, yeah, turning radius is solid. And then we are going to pop it over into the Sport Plus mode now, because we're going to be getting our acceleration in just a moment. Now I am in the manual mode. Yeah, gear shifts are really solid. Response time on is really good with this 10-speed automatic transmission. And let's get our acceleration now with the RDX. Yeah, so those gear shifts, very seamless. The acceleration, it's really good. This is a quick SUV. The thing that I'm noticing is they actually mask the size of this SUV really well. Again, it's not like a big SUV by any means, but they've just done a really good job with that. And again, the power figures don't sound crazy, but this thing feels quick. Like, it definitely has like this quick, sporty feel. This kind of reminds me of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio from like a performance standpoint. Like, it has that like fun performance SUV feel, but this definitely from like a build quality standpoint feels like above and beyond. Like everything, like the touch points feel really nice, but everything feels like really high quality with the RDX. Like, it doesn't feel like the car is going to fall apart or anything like that. Like, it's really high quality. And that's something that I've noticed with Acura, which let's actually get into summing things up with the RDX. So first off, from an exterior aesthetics perspective, I feel like this is a really good looking SUV. It definitely has this like cool sporty look to it, which I definitely really appreciate. And then from an interior perspective, the interior is really nice. Material use is nice, but everything feels really high quality. And this is what I've noticed. So I reviewed two Acuras today, and then I reviewed that NSX just over a week ago. And the thing that I've noticed with all three of these Acuras that I've reviewed so far is they just feel just so well built. Like, the car just feels really nice. It feels like it's just really going to hold up over a long period of time. It just feels like this really nice solid piece. It's hard to explain, but like when you get into some of these Italian cars or German cars, like they look pretty on the outside, but then you get in the inside and it feels like the car, like it rattles a little bit, and the build quality just doesn't feel as nice. Whereas what I've noticed with these Acuras is the build quality feels substantially nicer. And so if you're looking for like a really well built car that obviously with the RDX you could drive on a daily basis, that has a nice interior, looks nice on the exterior, then that's where Acura really shines as a brand. And yeah, I really like this new RDX. It's a really nice car. That is going to sum things up with our video today on this 2021 Acura RDX. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Jody Wilkinson Acura for giving me some time with this RDX. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in that next video.